All good, man.
All right, you wonderful, attractive, beautiful motherfuckers. We have a legend himself, Mark Diodati. and Mark is in HVAC. And what I wanted to bring on Mark for is more than anything, as we were just kind of talking about a little bit off air here, is some inspiration for you guys who are looking to break through on the client front. So, firstly, Mark, thanks and welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Frankie. I mean, your group is fantastic. A lot of just great content that you're putting out there, and it's helped me at least get clarity on why I've gone in the direction that I've gone. But brief story about me: I come from the HVAC trade. I was a $3 million a year residential heating and air conditioning salesperson. Um, and I started my business about 3.5 years ago, around the sole premise of just doing sales and coaching for other HVAC professionals and helping them to get to a higher level of higher ticket sales, higher close ratios, and all the things pertaining in-home sales for HVAC professionals.
Yeah.
Um, then things quickly evolved into becoming a lead generation agency, with all of our clients coming to us saying, this is fantastic that you're helping on the sales front, but we need a consistent flow of new opportunities coming into the business.
Yeah.
I never came from that world. I don't know marketing. I am still the first to admit that marketing is not my passion, but it evolved into that. And we dove firsthand in and started learning Facebook ads, Google ads, all kinds of paid advertising platforms. Got it pretty streamlined, got it up to about 35, 40-ish clients. And then I hit a peak, right? Where I feel like all agency owners will eventually hit, whether that's a specific number you get to or just the amount of workflow coming in. I realized that I couldn't scale that any further without building out my own team internally, and went through a lot of churn, kind of figuring things out and, managing a bunch of things coming through. And I still to this day am doing lead gen for my core clients that have been with me from day one. But ultimately, what we have come to the conclusion of in the last 6 months, even a year, is that it's not so much now about lead gen. It's more about the lack thereof of follow-up process.
Yeah.
So a lot of these companies, and contracting aside, just any company, any industry struggles with follow-up. They may think they need more opportunities, and clearly you
Yeah.
do
Can
need.
I just add on that, just having worked in like 1,000
Yep.
different industries through different agency owners, that as a general rule, most businesses falsely believe they're operating at close to 100% closing. And so
Yep.
the belief is that there is not more juice to be squeezed out of the orange in the existing machine that can be extracted through follow-up. And so they assume the only way to increase their business is to have more new opportunities in the front end. But part of what, the magic is knowing that none of that is fucking true. And they're missing opportunities left, right, and right, center. Don't answer the phone, don't follow up with people, can't answer basic questions, call one time, they don't answer. Okay, we gave up. Endless
Yeah,
number of reasons, as you mentioned.
100%, you're accurate. And we quickly realized why we had churn, and we did essentially a focus group on those. And we asked them, why aren't you working with us anymore? Why do you want to leave? And they said, oh, we're not converting the leads to enough booked appointments. And I said, okay, so is there someone doing the follow-up in-house? Is there someone actually monitoring this? And they said, no, we don't have that person. So then we realized that, okay, if we want to be successful and we want to sustain our clients, we're going to have to take that on. We don't want to put all of our results into someone else's hands, right? We can provide them with all the opportunities in the world, but if no one is really following up or monitoring or doing any of that, then it doesn't matter how well of a marketer you are, they
Yeah.
will lead. So we transitioned our business into doing appointment setting and providing that service exclusively for contractors. And the cool part about it is that they necessarily didn't even need to work with us on the lead generation side. Like, we didn't actually have to do the marketing. Our team can just be doing the lead follow-up for what is existing in their business.
Yeah.
So there's one model there, right, that was very effective. And then there were several of them, obviously, that took on that other marketing piece to our business, where we just handled everything from the marketing to the appointment setting side.
Yeah.
So long story short, that worked really well. And then we quickly found out that there were a lot of opportunities sitting in their database from unsold estimates. So as an example, you have a salesperson that goes out to a home, they meet with Mr. and Mrs. homeowner. Unfortunately, they weren't able to close that deal, and no one was following up after the fact because they just get too busy.
Can I just cut you off for a second, just to say that this some kind of equivalent is probably true in your industry. So in Mark's case, the HVAC guy goes out, he quotes the job, he hands him a proposal. If they don't buy it on the spot, they'll basically never hear from that company again most times. And there's a tremendous amount of opportunity. As I mentioned, like, if you use a football analogy, these people are like 95 yards down the field, and there's a tremendous opportunity for you to be the person who just helps get them the 5 yards, but those are the most valuable 5 yards on the field. And it's fucking easy, right? Because they're often doing nothing.
Yes, 100%. So just a huge opportunity that we identified, and we went back to each and every client and we said, look, here's what we're going to do. We see a big opportunity here with all of these unsold estimates. Our team is going to only do follow-up to those unsold estimates. And in our industry, it's what we call a rehashed lead, meaning you are enhancing that there's
just re-engage somebody who, like, for whatever reason didn't cross the finish line. And usually, by the way, the number one reason people don't cross the finish line is businesses will tell you, well, they didn't want what we did, or it was too much money, but it's usually actually just because they got busy, life got in the way, and other shit happened. My dog got sick, kids got to go here. I'm sure for those of you guys, especially with like kids, like, I can't tell you the number of times I intend to, like, follow through with something I get on my phone, and then kid goes, Daddy, I shit myself, and then you got to go deal with that, and then I forget about the message. And if you don't follow up in this day and age, you're basically like leaving a mountain of fucking money on the table, as most of these companies are.
Yeah, 100%, man. And so that's what we do now. We 100% have transitioned our business model over to solely doing follow-up on unsold estimates.
Yeah.
And we do that very, very effectively. We leverage a lot of automation to help in that front with Go High Level and all the abilities that Go High Level provides us from the lead nurturing side. But ultimately, our success story falls on having a solid, proven sales professional doing those follow-ups. You can't expect a customer service representative inside of their business to do those follow-ups effectively, because it's a whole nother animal. It is not like we're just trying to book an appointment with a homeowner. This is someone they've met with. There's a lot of maybe technical questions. There's a lot of financial questions. There's just a lot. So we brought in industry experts that I had great relationships with in my network to hammer the phones and get those people back engaged and go over their objections. And then what's great about it is that everything from a compensation standpoint that our company now is receiving is based off of performance. So it's a great way to come up with a irresistible offer to go out to the marketplace and say, hey, Mr. HVAC company, or hey, Mr. Contractor, do you have unsold estimates that are sitting in your database that no one's following up with? Well, we have a solution for you, and it's going to cost you nothing upfront unless we produce. So if you want to come up with that irresistible offer, that is exactly what ours is. There's no upfront costs. There's no long-term contracts. There's literally no risk whatsoever for them to provide us with these unsold opportunities and let our team go out and do what we do best, which is perform and get them back in the door so that we can close those deals.
Can I just
So
add
that is,
something on that before you go? Because I think there's something useful that a lot of folks can take out of that is, so I'll brag about you for a second. Like, you know, I got a message from you the other day saying like I signed 20 clients this month and my whole fucking inbox is exploded and now I have to like backfill and
yeah,
basically like backfill all the delivery side of things, which is a challenge that happens, by the way, if you have like exponential growth like Mark, where you're like signing a client a day for a month continuously, like that's what happens is you suddenly have to fill systems and teams, and that is in its own stressful. So I don't want to make that all sound like rainbows and butterflies. But I can remember before just having a conversation where you were focused on like generating these people Facebook ads and getting them front end leads. And a lot of us just go there just on the basis if that's what they tell us they need. And if you take that assumption at face value, then you'll act upon that and then try and, but what we found, that's the equivalent of like trying to bring the ball 100 yards up the field. And it can be done, but it's a real challenge. And what we found is like, you know, just after our kind of talk, that like there's tons of opportunities that are like 5 yards from the goal line and closer. And one of those is like they've already got a lead. That person's checked out their website and their catalog, read their testimonials, actually called them. They physically drove out there. They talked with them for 45 minutes. They handed them a proposal. And for whatever reason, that person 95 yards down the goal line did not convert into a touchdown. It's, you know, you're just helping them with the most valuable 5 yards in the field. I would love to hear just your thoughts on kind of the offer side of thing, like what that was like before when you had like what I would call like a Me Too offer, which is very similar to what a lot of people are saying is like we'll do Facebook ads for HVAC. And now that you've got something that I would call like an add-on close to the whole offer that's so irresistible that like you can barely keep up with the messages you're getting. I'd love to just hear some thoughts on insights or tips or whatever you could give.
yeah, of course, man. So as everyone knows, the lead generation industry as a whole is becoming very, very saturated. We all see it in our news feeds. We all come across it from other competitors saying, we're going to guarantee you booked appointments, or, you know, we're going to guarantee you XYZ amount of leads, right? Or, hey, could you handle more installs this month? Or, you know, whatever bullshit message it is, it's all fluff. It's all crap. Every single client that is come to us now for the rehash side has all said, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many of these messages we get and how many people are blowing us up and blah, blah, blah. So in the beginning, I was one of those, right?
Yeah.
I would go out and I would market myself as I'm going to get you 30 installs a month, right? Guaranteed, or you don't pay money back, whatever, right? All the same bullshit stuff. So I quickly realized that A, I know we're different. B, I come from the industry. There's so much more added value I provide to my clients. So how do I separate myself, right? And how do I be different? And then when we quickly saw that there was all these opportunities sitting in their pipeline and no one was following up with them, I said, okay, here's the direction. Here's where I need to go. So I went out on my personal Facebook page, and I also did this in very strategic groups that I'm a part of within my niche. And I had this one frame and one message, and it worked really, really well.
Yeah.
Again,
Can I just, for those of you guys who don't know, what Mark is doing is what I would call a hand raiser, which is like a summary of the offer. And if you're interested, reach out to me, contact me, post a comment, that kind of thing is like basically all of this is being driven by a short little post. Like we're not talking about a novel. We're talking about a few sentences, but they're a pretty irresistible few sentences.
yes. And the message was this clear. If you are an HVAC business who is struggling to follow up with unsold estimates, we get it. We see it all day long. We hear it from all of our current clients. There is a huge need for being able to have a successful, trained HVAC sales professional following up on your unsold estimates. If that's something of interest and you'd like to entertain that, our team is here, strictly performance based, no upfront costs, no long-term commitments. We just get you results. And that's when we expect to be compensated.
Yeah.
Hit me up. That's it. And my DMs literally, when I sent that message to Frankie, just blew up. I was literally asking him, hey, do you know of a software that I could purchase to help to tag and identify my DMs coming in? Because I could not remember who was interested, who wasn't, who was responding for this, who was responding for that. It was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Good problem to have. So now what we're struggling with is the scale side, like what Frankie had mentioned on the beginning of the call, is we only have so much internal capacity to be able to do rehash or unsold, follow-up on estimates.
Yeah.
So we're very selective now, which is a really good position to be in on who we want to work with and how many opportunities we can actually handle in-house.
Yeah.
So now our next step is to hire more, get more experienced sales professionals in our trade,
And
signed up.
McDonaldize all that, as I would say.
Yep. Yeah, and be able to have them do this from the comfort of their home is another great selling point. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a comfort advisor for many years. Again, I sold 3 million every year in HVAC sales, but I was limited on the amount of opportunities that I could personally run in a day. And the max I would run is anywhere between 4, possibly 5 calls in one day. And that's on like the 90-degree type day, right? When everyone's calling, their air conditioners are broken. I got to go out and I got to sell them a new system. So for me, thinking back now on that, if I had that luxury of sitting at home, being able to take 8 to possibly 10 calls in one day, make more money, not having to drive around God's country all day and spend that time being with my family, it was just a no-brainer. So that's what essentially now is inspiring other HVAC sales professionals to reach out to us to say, hey, man, I want to hear what you're doing over there.
Yeah.
I'd like to come on board. So everything's growing and evolving so organically because there's such a need for this. And we're not just going to stop in HVAC. We're going to do this in other industries, but we're sticking with where we know, at least right now, is our skill sets and our sweet spot. But we're getting hit up by roofers. We're getting hit up by...
I hit you up. I told you we're in the process of acquiring businesses. My partner, I just told him about your offer right after you had messaged me. And he's like, dude, we got 6 businesses. Can we do that in all of them? Right?
Exactly. And, think about doing a quote unquote rehash type scenario for the real estate industry. You want to talk about a high ticket dollar.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's probably one of the highest that I'm aware of. I mean, if you rehashed one of those deals for a real estate agent, that could be $100,000 commission check easily, right?
And what I would like
Depending on-
to just add for you guys that are sitting there thinking like, how can I do this? I think at least partially part of the big switch in your case, Mark, is everybody will tell you 100% of the time, I need more new. And the
Right.
belief is they're getting the maximum out of the machine. Like lawyers will tell me, I close 100% of the calls I want. I'm like, yeah, like you don't even fucking answer half your calls, let alone close 100% of them. But they believe that. And so they'll
Yeah.
tell you the only solution to increase the revenue is bring more. And if you can just ignore that piece and recognize, just ask yourself the question of like, what's already close to the goal line that they're missing out on, and almost strap some follow-up. What will happen is your stuff will become so valuable simply because that's the most valuable 5 yards in the field. I used the analogy before. I call it the goal line running back. For any of you guys who play fantasy football, is like, if you ever play fantasy football, a running back gets a point every 10 yards. And there's this phenomenon where there'll be this running back who goes 60 yards down the field. He like basically does all the heavy lifting. And then they'll switch running backs to like a bigger guy who can smash out and grind out the last yard or two. And that guy will typically, I got a call incoming. But that guy will get 6 points, the same 6 points, the guy who did like all the heavy lifting. And so there's opportunities like this in everything, like whether you're working with dentists or real estate or an online coach or even e-commerce. Like we have a guy in e-commerce and he recognized the thing they struggle with is once somebody actually clicks add to cart to actually buy it, and then they flake for whatever reason, or change their mind, or they get busy, or they're at work and they can't order it and their boss comes by and they have to close it. And he figured out just adding some follow-up into the people who almost bought it was the lowest hanging fruit, and not more Facebook ads. I'm not saying you guys can't run Facebook ads or Google or SEO or TikTok or whatever, but almost always there's opportunities that are way bigger and way more profitable within 5 yards of the end zone, and they're way more valuable to the business owner, because at the end of the day, like, leads that don't convert into anything aren't that valuable for an HVAC person. But if you just find like 1, 2, 3 deals for them, they're like, holy shit, that's amazing. And those were deals they wouldn't have otherwise had, because they don't recognize, like, I see this in the law industry. Somebody fills out a form or calls them, and often they'll call that person back, and if they don't answer, that's it. That's the ends of the transaction. And so if you just put follow-up, they'll close more deals. And it's like one of the easiest things to fucking do, right? Because like they're people who've already, like, they paid for leads, they visited their websites, they probably read some testimonials, they watched a video or two, they actually took the initiative to call them, and then it got lost in the last 5 yards of the field. And it's like, it's easy opportunities to turn nothing into something.
Yeah. I've had a lot of our clients, new clients at least for the rehash side, reach out and say, we've tried to do this on our own already, Mark. So what's different, right? What would be different about you doing this for us? Because we've gone down this road. And I think the secret sauce, well, I know the secret sauce is the fact that we actually come from the trade, and we have that sales professional background. So that's really the secret sauce behind why we're being so successful. So I guess what I'm trying to tell everyone is, think about your industry and your niche and where you're focused in, become that expert. And if you're not that expert in doing that follow-up, find someone who is, right? And hire that person, or at least have them mentor you or train you on how to learn that. And I'm telling you, things are just going to become so much clearer and easier for you. And you won't have to worry about, oh my God, this ad account got shut down, or, oh, this campaign is not performing well for this client, or any of that bullshit stuff. I mean, you can now tangibly say to a client, we're getting you results, and you're only paying us based on those results.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, you pay me $2,000 a month. It may or may not get you some leads coming in that convert. But
that was my old SEO offer. Pay me a lot of money, and wait a long time, and hopefully it'll work. But I can't guarantee it, because Google's crazy. But usually I'm pretty good at it. And then maybe in a year from now, you'll have a bunch more business. And that is like the epitome of resistible offer. That's when they say, give me a proposal and call me. When you have something like Mark, where it's like, I'm just going to crunch the ball in 5 yards for you and bring you some touchdowns, all of a sudden your DMs blow up and they're like, I need touchdowns.
That's it. We convert red zones. That's it.
Yeah. All right, Mark, I don't want to keep you anywhere, because I can hear my kids just being crazy kids. And also, I know you're a busy man with a blown up inbox and a bunch of fulfillment side to McDonald's and backfill. But for folks who are interested in seeing what you do, potentially working with you, what's the next move?
Yeah, you can reach out to me at support@HVAC leads. That's LEADS machine.com. Or you can hit me up on Facebook at Mark Diodati, which is DIODA, T as in Tom, E as in Edward.
Okay, cool. I'll put a link for you guys so that Mark's easy to track down. And appreciate you doing this, my man. I think this is valuable for a lot of people. So
I love what you do, man. Keep doing it. And honestly, guys, if you're not signed up in his group, I would highly recommend doing it. So
I appreciate that, my man.
Of course.